Hey, what's up guys, it's me, Master Printerman, and welcome back to my gaming channel and welcome back to another SMC content. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the new mecha which is going to be released this Friday, known as Ventorus. A lot of you already know him. He's already released on the China server. So I made a first impression about him, also a gameplay videos about him, but it's time I make an overview and what I personally think about him and what tech build and stuff like that and what is the strategy that I recommend when playing him. So with that said, go high, roll the intro. Hey, it's just a gaming channel. Now do keep in mind that Kohai, all these are translated from Chinese to English, so when Taurus comes to global server, everything might subject to change. But I just want to get you guys a rough picture on what Ventorus is, or whether you have enough, whether you want to be buying him, or maybe get yourself prepared to be fighting him on the global server. Now let's start off with the pilot first. Her name is called Jiu Chong, where if you pronounce in English accent, it's called Jiu Chong, but she's actually meant to be called Jiu Chong. I have Chinese accent by the way. So Jiu means 9 and Chong means reputation. So if you combine that two, it actually means 9倍, I mean 9 times, 9-fold, so it's Jiu Chong, so she's 9 times the strength. She's the heir to Taoism, but an independent fashion designer. So what Taoism is some sort of like a religion where they pray to deities. Just think of it as a Chinese Greek mythology, and I don't want to talk too much about it, I don't want to start conflict. And she entered SMC to prove her concept on the Taoism Mecha. Now she likes rock and music and handcraft, and she dislikes serious conversation. Now that's basically about her. Let's go to Ventorus. Ventorus, his Chinese name is called 不骤风, which means unstable wind, and if you convert to my understanding, it's called tornado wind. So Ventorus is a typhoon or a tornado that is very dangerous. I guess so. 不骤风. Now Ventorus has two modes. He has a normal mode, which is meant to be played mid-range and long-range, and his Berserk Dragon mode, which is going to be called BDM in this entire video, and it is meant to be played close range. Now when you enter BDM mode, Ventorus has a duration of 10 seconds, but he has a cooldown of 25 seconds, but minus that duration of 10 seconds, once the form is over, you have 15 seconds to be waiting until you can enter BDM again. Alright, next point. His primary weapon, his secondary weapon, and his combat dash. His combat skill. Now his primary attack is called Gale Bomb, it's called 雷锋弹. I don't know. Now his primary attack is called Gale Bomb, if translated, and he fire a fisted bomb with his hand, which there's gonna be 4 hits, a jab, you know what's jab? And the attack flies straight, and it has a very high velocity. And it has a 36 to 36 ammo, and the damage on pilot and mecha is 16 HP and 64 durability. But when he enters the Super Saiyan BDM mode, the attack's kind of scattered, so it has a reduction in accuracy and it actually travels a lot slower. So when he enters Dragon Super Saiyan mode, it's actually the mode that you want to play close range. But the good thing about this though is that he'll be having an infinite ammo, so you don't really have to worry about reloading. Now the damage actually increases for the mecha, but the pilot is still deals 16 HP, but for the mecha it actually deals 75 durability. Moving on to his secondary attack, which is called the Burning Wheel. It is a chargeable AoE attack, and the damage on the pilot without charging is 80 to 84 HP and 387 on mecha. But when it is charged, the damage on pilot is 104 HP and mecha is 494 durability. The time that's required for a full charge is 1.5 seconds, and the cooldown of his secondary skill is 8 seconds. But when he enters BDM mode, you don't have to charge to deal maximum damage. So in the normal mode you have to charge, but in BDM mode you don't have to charge. For the cooldown, it's actually the same as the normal mode. On to his combat skill. His combat skill translated is called Twin Dragon Break. It's gonna be very different from his BDM Super Saiyan. So his normal mode is a screen followed dash, which is a 2-dimensional dash, very similar to Arthur. The screen is followed, but you cannot go higher or lower. You can just turn left and right. But one thing funny is that it actually dashes through enemies. So Ventorus has a number of 2 maximum dash, and the dashing distance is 30 meters, and the cooldown for his dash is 6.5 seconds. The only cool thing about Ventorus Dragon form is that when he dashes, he actually deals slashes damage. So the dash actually changes a lot when he enters BDM mode, where he started go omnidirection dash rather than being followed by Arthur dash, which is the dash is very similar to Boltus and Hot. It deals slash damage upon contact, and the damage amount on pilots slash mecha is 70 HP and 320 durability. So the secondary attack still deals a lot of damage, so use that to your advantage. Don't depend on the dashes, alright? The dash distance is actually the same and the cooldown is actually the same, so that's really much it about it. His Dragon Dash actually allows him to go higher up place, so in terms of map gameplay, I don't think he has any problem except for dealing with a lot of cooldown. Now his jump range is normal, but he cannot do something like Arthur where you dash and then you jump, you get some sort of like a momentum, so you can't do that. And he has one of the decent dash, I guess. Not too bad. Boltus is bad, so he's okay. He's really okay. Now the one thing I think about Ventorus' primary weapon and secondary weapon and his dash is that he's dealing with a lot of cooldown. He has his cooldown on his dragon mode, he has his cooldown on his secondary attack, he has his cooldown on his dashes. So in order to deal more damage with him, you want to reduce his cooldown, which I will be talking about it in the tag. But for the next thing, let's talk about the modules first. Alright, next thing, let's talk about his modules. So let's start off with attack modules, which is the first one, Fighting Dragon. It increased the secondary attack AoE by 3, 4, and 5 meters for both forms. This is the one I recommend because you want his AoE to hit, because when you have a core module, it is actually kind of decrease the dragon mode's cooldown. Second one is Xiaofeng, increased primary attack velocity by 4, 8, or 12% for both forms. Not really, because if you want, you gotta be playing this dude in close range form. So I honestly think this is a waste, but that's really up to you, man. Now his defense module, Gale Wind. Reduce primary weapon scatters in BDM by 5%, 10%, and 15%. Not the one I prefer because you gotta be playing him in close range already, but if you don't want to prevent scatters, I think it's fine, but I still prefer the second one, which is called Magic Dragon. Increase the BDM duration by 1.5 seconds, and 2 seconds, depending on level. About him is that you want to keep his dragon mode longer, and then you want to reduce his dash cooldown, which we're gonna mention in the tag, alright? His propulsion module is, number 1 is the Storm Range, which increase his BDM dash attack speed. But for the second one, it's called the Real Dragon. It kind of increased movement speed in BDM, increased by 4%, 8%, and 10%. So I actually prefer the one that increased the movement speed. Alright, so Real Dragon is the one to go. Now let's talk about his core modules. He's gonna be depending on his core modules a lot. Core module 1, Gust of Wind. The Berserk Dragon mode dash attack deals extra damage. I'm not sure about the pilot, but for the mecha, it actually increased by 100 durability, and the slash will deal a Gale Bomb, which is you're gonna see a sphere flying out of his dash after his dashes and slash. But for my case, I actually prefer Core 2. Both Utar prefer Core 2 because the Core 2 is called Dragon Sphere. If your secondary attack hits the enemy, it actually reduces the cooldown of the Berserk Dragon mode by 3 seconds. So now you understand why I asked you to pick the one that increased the AoE, because you want your AoE to hit so that your BDM actually decrease. And then when it comes to your attack mode, you want to be building him in decreasing the dash attack and the secondary weapon. So let's move on to the tag right now. Alright, tag recommendation. For attack tag, I personally recommend Assault Program, Melee Component, or Onslaught module for short range damage build, because you want to be building him on short range and mid range. For Ventorus, you rarely play him on long range, but there is long range scenario, but it's just that you play him short range or mid range more. Or you can either go Improved Chamber or Rapid Magazine, which decrease the secondary weapon cooldown, which with Core 2, if hit, it also decreases the BDM cooldown. So it's a little bit mess, but what I want you to get a picture is that you need to build Ventorus by You will need to build Ventorus by lowering his cooldown as much as possible, and you don't want to miss the secondary attack because that's why you need the AoE, the cooldown. Just build him on cooldown. So for defense tag, I actually recommend Quick Cooldown Plan and Engine Boost, which is gonna give you a 3.2% cooldown for the combat skill. And not to mention that if you add Room's secondary skill, which is Combat Control, at max level you're gonna have 7% cooldown for the combat skill. So adding together, you have 10% cooldown for his dashes. Just for Ventorus, just reduce his cooldown, alright? If you want to deal massive damage, just reduce his cooldown. That's really easy to understand, right? Now there's one extra slot, so I technically recommend concurrent power supply to increase his movement speed by 1.8%, and that's basically it. And again, pirate secondary skill recommendation, combat control. I also forgot to mention that Ventorus is available on the China server by topping up enough, so they did mention on our server that if we top enough, we'll get the similar rewards and stuff like that. So for people who are already top up, I'm guessing we will get Ventorus for free for both those people who pay. But for those who not, it might cost 28,000 gold. He has a couple of skins, but I don't find them really attractive, so yeah. So my overview on Ventorus is that you need to reduce his cooldown to deal massive damage, build him in short range damage, and reduce his cooldown. That's really important. I don't think he's overpowered like when Neutrons or Boltus release. Boltus is still more powerful than him, and they don't really overpower Ventorus. He's a little bit of everything. He does that job, but not completely, you know what I mean? In Chinese, we call that 半桶水, so yeah, he's a half bucket of water. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like and comment down on what you personally think about Ventorus. Are you gonna get him? Are you gonna try him out for yourself? Or maybe you've already tried him, leave your opinion down in the comment section below. And make sure to subscribe for more Super Mega Champion content. With that said, 各位，这是 Game Champ。